Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Jasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachadi Jamuna Tira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Madhava Kunjabi Adi Gopi Jana Bhalabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Bhalabha Gopi Jana Bhalabha Girivardhari Jasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachadi Jamuna Tira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Madhava Kunjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parividakacharya Astatarasata Simad. His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Gaura Premanandi. Now, did we read text 1 yesterday?
No.
Okay. Canto 4, chapter 2, text 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Vidura uvacha bhave shilavatam sheste daksho dritri vatsala videsham akarod kasmad anandrityat majam satim. Vidura inquired, why was Daksha, who was so affectionate toward his daughter, envious of Lord Shiva, who is the best among the gentle? Why did he neglect his daughter, Sati? Purport. In the second chapter of the fourth canto, the cause of the dissension between Lord Shiva and Daksha, which was due to a great sacrifice arranged by Daksha for the pacification of the entire universe, is explained. Lord Shiva is described here as the best of the gentle because he is not envious of anyone. He is equal to all living entities, and all other good qualities are present in his personality. The word Shiva means all auspicious. No one can be an enemy of Lord Shiva's, for he is so peaceful and renounced that he does not even construct a house for his residence, but lives underneath a tree, always detached from all worldly things. The personality of Lord Shiva symbolizes the best of gentleness. Why then was Daksha, who offended his beloved daughter to such a who offered his beloved daughter to such a gentle personality, inimical towards Lord Shiva, so intensely that Sati, the daughter of Daksha and the wife of Lord Shiva, gave up her body? I'm going to read text 2 also. Kastam charachara gurum nirvairam shanta vigraham atmaramam katam dveshti jagato daivatam mahat. Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the entire world, is free from enmity, is a peaceful personality, and is always satisfied in himself. He is the greatest among the demigods. How is it possible that Daksha could be inimical towards such an auspicious personality? Daksha's got a problem. Purport. Lord Shiva is described here as Charachara Guru, spiritual master of all animate and inanimate objects. He is sometimes known as Bhutanatha, which means the worshipable deity of dull-headed. Bhuta is also sometimes taken to indicate the ghosts. Lord Shiva takes charge of reforming persons who are ghosts and demons, not to speak of others who are godly. Therefore, he is the spiritual master of everyone, both the dull and demoniac, and the highly learned Vaishnavas. It is also stated, Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. Shambhu, Lord Shiva, is the greatest of all Vaishnavas. On the one hand, he is the worshipable object of the dull demons, and on the other, he is the best of all Vaishnavas, or devotees. And he has a sampradaya called the Rudra Sampradaya. Even if he is an enemy or is sometimes angry, such a personality cannot be the object of envy. So Vidura, in astonishment, asked why he was taken as such, especially by Daksha. Daksha is not an ordinary person. He's a Prajapati. in charge of fathering population, and all his daughters are highly elevated, especially Sati. The word Sati means the most chaste. Whenever there is consideration of chastity, Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva, and the daughter of Daksha, is considered first. Vidura, therefore, was astonished. Daksha is such a great man, he thought, and is the father of Sati. And Lord Shiva is the spiritual master of everyone. How then could there possibly be so much enmity between them that Sati, the most chaste goddess, could give up her body because of their quarrel? It's a nice question. Well, the entire seminar topic is based upon the answer to this question. There's envy in his heart. And because of envy in the heart, one can't see properly. In fact, one sees the opposite of what is, and then does things that are not proper, like offensive. So that's the cause. And, the cure. So the Bhagavatam cure is the process of submissive oral reception. So, emphasis on submissive, but also oral reception. But then some persons are not submissive, and there's therefore not proper oral reception, and therefore they hear but they don't hear, or they hear but they don't understand. We'll be discussing some examples of that. Duryodhana is one example of that. He had good advice, multiple good advices, and he couldn't hear. Stubborn obstinacy, because in his case he was ambitious. But ambitious, behind that and behind that and behind that. There was envy of those that were superior to him, and he couldn't see they're superior to him. What made Arjuna superior to him? He was Krishna's devotee. Because he was Krishna's devotee, Krishna protected him under all circumstances. Most elevated person should be respected. He couldn't respect him. He did some other things. And then good advice, and he couldn't hear the good advice. He's a classic. And as a result, it brought about his destruction. The stakes were very high. It was war. It escalated and escalated and escalated and escalated, and he was killed. But why was there war? Why was the why? Because of envy. And so when hearing about Krishna, he couldn't hear it. He couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear it. He just wanted what he wanted. It's a very nice scene when he came to grandfather Bhishma because Karna was harassing this fellow, your commander-in-chief. He's so powerful. He was able to withstand Lord Parashuram. He could chop them all, but he's not doing it. No, the evaluation was, he's partial. Krishna wasn't really going full steam because he was partial. He liked Krishna, and therefore because he liked Krishna, he liked the Pandavas, and he's the commander in chief against the Pandavas. He's not going full steam. So please do something. Anyway, Bhishma tried to reason with him. I'm doing, but you remember that one of the two conditions? I won't kill the Pandavas. Now you want me to kill the Pandavas, but there was the condition, and the reason is I won't kill the Pandavas because I can't. What's the reason? Because they're protected by Krishna. So don't ask me to, because if I take a vow, then I'm going to fulfill it. But I'm not going to take that vow because I can't fulfill it. And he Duryodhana couldn't hear it. He couldn't understand what he was saying. And then Bhishma is reflecting. This fellow's impossible. Okay, I'm the commander in chief. I made a vow to my father, and so I'll take a vow that will cause me to be unable to keep my vow. Because Krishna will interfere and protect the Pandavas. So he made a choice. That was the choice of how he would die, or when he would die, because Krishna is going to protect the Pandavas. Anyway, the rest is there, but some persons can't hear. And what happens to those persons that can't hear? There's consequences. They're on the material side, and the darker side of the material side. Just like the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Are there are four types of people who don't surrender to Krishna. They're mentioned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, but they won't surrender to Krishna. They won't surrender to Krishna. So because of that, the consequence is dark. Or surrender to Krishna, the consequence is light. And everyone has the same opportunity, free will, choice, yes or no. As is true with the whole scene of the conflict between the Kurus and the Pandavas, even just calling the Pandavas, it's an artificial categorization, just as like us and them, because they're also Kauravas. There's Kauravas as the Kauravas are Kauravas, but they're called the Pandavas. So us and them. And the consequences. So it's not allegorical, but it's certainly a lesson. Make choices that are wise. And then the bhavam ashrita, they take shelter of the asurim bhavam ashrita, the characteristics of an asura. It's like not maybe, it's a law of nature. Like gravity or something else that's a law of nature. It's just a law of nature. And they can deny the law of nature or something. That's not a consequence. I'm on top. It's foolish. I'm above the laws of nature. Foolish. So the question by Vidura is a good question. Because of envy. And envy brought about his ruination. It took anyway, with all what's coming up in this canto, when he arranged a yagya, inviting all the VIPs in the universe, but with the exclusion of Lord Shiva. He didn't invite Lord Shiva, which means he didn't invite his daughter. So his daughter, Lord Shiva advised her, don't. If you go, you'll be very sorry, because the neglect of invitation is going to escalate. He'll say and do things that will make you angry. So don't go. Yeah, but I want to go. Okay. Consequences. So as we shared yesterday, there's a little presentation on not just Shiva Tattva, but a certain aspect of Shiva Tattva, like where is his abode? And there's some common ideas of where his abode is. Mount Kailash, that's where his abode is. At least those who are in knowledge of the Vedas, they know that's his abode. But where's Mount Kailash? Where in the universe is Mount Kailash? That's a nice question. And is that it? Is that it? Because Lord Shiva can expand. We had this nice discussion in the China class about Grandfather Bhishma. A or B. Grandfather Bhishma, according to the Bhagavatam, he achieved Vaikuntha because he was mind fixed. He asked Lord Krishna to show his forearm form. He showed his forearm form. And as seeing the forearm form, he left his body at will. So where did he go? Specifically, it's described Vaikuntha, where Parthasarathi is the presiding form of Lord Vishnu or Lord Narayan. It's very clear. And then there are references in Mahabharata that say he achieved his position of Vasu again after that lifetime, because his other 7 brothers, they were tossed in the river by Ganga. And from that position, they went back and resumed their position as Vasus. And Mahabharata says that's what happened to Bhishma. So then there was this question, like 2 people asked the same question. Is it possible he did both? And then a little research, and the research is from Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where Narada Muni is describing to Gopakumar, maybe you've seen me in a number of places. That's because I exist in a number of places. And not only I exist in a number of places, but there's these, those, and those, the other ones. The reason is for this purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord, we can manifest ourselves in multiple places. Because it's just service, and Krishna makes that possible. We're jivas. It's not like there's one jiva becomes multiple jivas. Because a jiva can't be cut, they can manifest themselves in multiple places. It doesn't give the technology of how they do it. It just says, Narada says, and there are commentaries of Sanatana Goswami that confirm. So is it possible that Grandfather Bhishma is in both places? That was a nice mystery. And the mystery got solved by Kramasandarbha in the same chapter, Canto 1, Chapter 9, text 44. In Kramasandarbha, Jiva Goswami says it's not a contradiction. And it's just a little, if you like, I can send you the text, but or you can look it up. 1.9.44. Jiva Goswami says it's not a conflict. He went to Vaikuntha. But you can read it. So, Lord Shiva has multiple abodes. Not a problem. And each of them are for services. And he's a very compassionate Shiva. He's very compassionate. So he does lots and lots of service. And the best of all Vaishnavas, he has lots and lots of services. So let's see if we can find the presentation that just talks about, come on. The abodes of Lord Shiva. Part 1, I think. Okay. I don't know where I don't know where it starts. It's somewhere it says there's some slide I should have prepared. It says there's 8 different places where he resides. Identity and residence of Lord Shiva. The first is in the Vaikuntha realm. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila chapter 6. Rudra, who is an expansion of Sada Shiva, and who appears in unlimited universes, is also a guna avatar, and is the ornament of all the demigods in the endless universes. Purport. In the Vayu Purana, there is a description of Sada Shiva in one of the Vaikuntha planets. That Sada Shiva is a direct expansion of Lord Krishna's form for pastimes. It is said that Sada Shiva, or Lord Shambhu, is an expansion from the Sada Shiva in the Vaikuntha planets. abode is absolutely real. It can be attained by the best of Lord Shiva's servant. Probably should be servants, plural. And the commentary, which is also Sanatana Goswami, this abode of Lord Shiva's is not a creation of Maya. In Shivaloka, there is no unhappiness. That world is attained by the best of Lord Shiva's devotees, the ones who understand him to be non-different from Sri Krishna. Not the Shaivites who are karmis or gyanis, or who worship Lord Shiva as an independent supreme controller. This Shivaloka is his original abode. Again, Brihat Bhagavatamrita. There, Lord Shiva, served by the most excellent regalia, reveals himself in his full splendor, surrounded by companions who share opulence and beauty equal to his. As his personal deity, he worships Lord Sankarshan, not different from himself. Commentary. On Shivaloka, Lord Shiva always worships the personality of Godhead in his form as Sri Sankarshana, who has thousands of serpent hoods. Both Lord Sankarshan and his expansion, Lord Shiva, are incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so they are non-different. When the time comes for the material universe to be annihilated, Rudra, the destroyer, appears from Sri Sankarshana. There is a Dvaitacharya worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Radha and Krishna. So, Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 6, purport. It is said that during the advent of Lord Chaitanya, Sada Shiva appeared as Advaita Prabhu. And Advaita Prabhu's chief concern was to elevate the fallen, conditioned souls to the platform of devotional service to Lord Krishna. So there must be some connection between Sada Shiva and Mahavishnu. There's Lord Shiva drinking poison, Canto 8. O king, when that uncontrollable poison was forcefully spreading up and down in all directions, all the demigods, along with the Lord himself, approached Lord Shiva, that is, Sada Shiva, feeling unsheltered and very much afraid. They sought shelter of him. So, on the topic, there's Lord Shiva in Vaikuntha, and then there's another abode. He's manifest in various places between Vaikuntha and the material world. From Sri Brahma Samhita. Lowest of all, Goloka Namni Nitya Damni Chale Chatasya, that one. Lowest of all is located Devi Dham, or the mundane world. Next above, Mahesh Dham, the abode of Mahesh. Above Mahesh Dham is placed Hari Dham, the abode of Hari. And above them all is located Krishna's own realm named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of these created realms. So there's that celebrated poster. And if you look, you have to look very closely. We'll make a blow up of this poster. But at the bottom, that's one universe, and then there's all those material universes. And then each universe has, you see, colored layers, 7 layers, surrounding each of the universes. Inside is hollow. And then there's layers and layers and layers. And then those layers are, the universes are floating in the causal ocean. And above the causal ocean is this realm of Mahesh Dham. So you see Kailash, you can see in the center. It's like a mountain. And Lord Shiva's seated on top of Kailash. But in between is the Brahmajyoti. Let's see if we'll have a closer picture. Down here, that's Devi Dham. That's Mahesh Dham. The arrow is pointing to Kailash. And above that is Haridham, and above that is Golokadham. And here's a close-up. Sada Shiva Loka, that's in the spiritual world. And below the spiritual world, the Sada Shiva Loka is situated, there's Mahakala Dham. So here's the purport with Bhaktisiddhanta's very interesting language. Next above Devi Dham is located Shiva Dham, one portion of which, called Mahakala Dham, is enveloped in darkness. Means that's not in the spiritual sky. Not in Haridham. It's enveloped in darkness. Semicolon. Interpenetrating this portion of Shivadham, there shines the Sada Shiva Loka, full of great light. Above the same appears Haridham, or the transcendental Vaikuntha Loka. So this is abode number 2. Wait a minute, what happened? This is review. Okay. Yeah, there's a nice chart. There's Mahakala Dham. Above Mahakala, that little dotted red line. On the left side, that's Mahatattva. There's the energy of the material feature of Lord Shiva. We will see in a moment that Lord Mahavishnu is going to glance. Check it out. There's Mahavishnu glance, and within him is Rama Devi. Zoom. That's his glance. Should we do it again? So we don't see Rama Devi because she's within. But this particular drawing shows her not within. You see, her form is being the body of Mahavishnu. So when he wishes, she does his wish. And so she arranges for the glance. He's glancing over the Mahatattva, and there goes the glance of Mahavishnu. And with the glance of Mahavishnu, there he goes, Shambhu. And he is, with the glance, is carrying 2 things. All the living entities, samasti, that were within the body of Mahavishnu, and kala, material energy of time. And that time and the living entities consort with Maya Devi, or the impregnation of Mahadevi, or Maya Devi, the jivas and their karma and time. Because jivas, the karma in the unmanifest state is dormant, but it's still there. Jivas with their karma and time. And then things start to happen in the material world. So this realm is the Karna Ocean, also known as the Viraja River. What's the Viraja River? It's the dividing line between the material and spiritual. Or that's what Karna Ocean is. That's where Mahavishnu is. And Mahakaladham is like that also. So time has these two divisions. This is details from Sankhya. Icha Shakti and Kriya Shakti. Kriya Shakti is a feature of time. It brings things into being. And how does it know which direction to move in? Icha Shakti. These are potencies of the Supreme Lord from the spiritual realm, or potencies of Mahavishnu. When the jiva enters the material world, Shiva embraces him and covers him with false ego. First thing, welcome. Here's your share of false ego. Thank you very much. Wait a minute. Look, you want it to enjoy, you got to have false ego. Okay. Thank you, Lord Shiva. The potency of Devi Dham in the form of the extension of Maya, and that of Shiva Loka consisting of time, space, and matter, are the potency of the separated particles. Go to Bhaktisiddhanta's language. Separated particles, that's the jivas, pervaded by the penumbral reflection of the subjective portion. Come again? There's umbra and penumbra. We're going to have some nice little charts. Look at this. There's umbra, at the center of, there's a source of light, and there's something in between the source of light, like a round sphere, a ball, and it casts a shadow. So the shadows are of two kinds, umbra and penumbra, pervaded by the penumbral reflection of the subjective portion. So the subjective portion, who's that? The Vishnu Tattvas. They're subjective portions. They're subjective. They're not in full. They're subjective. The portion, subjective portion. The Lords of Haridham, of the divinity. Thank you, Bhaktisiddhanta. The presiding deity of Mahesh Dham, who's that? Brahma Samhita, 545, text 45. The real nature of Shambhu, presiding deity of Mahesh Dham, is described. Shambhu is not a second Godhead other than Krishna. He doesn't have a competitor. Those who entertain such discriminating sentiment commit a great offense against the Supreme Lord. The supremacy of Shambhu is subservient to that of Govinda, semicolon. Hence, they are not really different from each other. The oneness and difference. The non-distinction is established by the fact that just as milk treated with acid turns into curd, so Godhead becomes subservient when he himself attains a distinct personality by the addition of a particular element of adulteration, that is, contact with Pradhan. Lord Vishnu doesn't contact Pradhan. Lord Shiva contacts Pradhan. That's the adulterating agent. This personality has no independent initiative. So there's milk and acid, and then you get dahi. Text 45 from Brahma Samhita. The light of one candle being communicated to other candles, although it burns separately in them, the light, is the same in its quality. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who exhibits himself equally in the same mobile manner in his various manifestations. So each of the expansions of Krishna are like Krishna, or the same light as found in the original candle, found in the other subsequent candles. Jiva Goswami's commentary is a little different than Bhaktisiddhanta's. The Shambhu Tattva, or the principle of Lord Shiva, is like a lamp covered with carbon. This is a lot easier. a lamp covered with carbon. We're going to see an image of, the old style lamps that's got a flame inside and there's a glass around the flame inside. So that's the lamp covered with carbon. Because of his being in charge of the mode of ignorance, the illumination from such a lamp is very minute. Therefore, the power of Lord Shiva cannot be compared to that of the Vishnu principle, or is marginal compared to Vishnu. There's a lamp with some carbon on the inside of the lamp. Shambhu Tattva, the principle of Lord Shiva, is like a lamp covered with carbon. The illumination from such a lamp is very minute. Therefore, the power of Lord Shiva cannot be compared to that of the Vishnu principle. A note on Shambhu, Jiva Goswami's commentary from Brahma Samhita text number 8. It should be understood that this form, that is Shiva, is different from the Shiva described in verse 45. The way in which the two appear are completely different. So here's text 8 from Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita, text 8, speaks of the original Shiva, or Adi Shiva, or Sadashiva, who is Narayana. It's not the same as the Lord Shiva that is compared to a lamp or compared to curd. The Lord's eternal form, called Shambhu, whose body is pure consciousness and who is a portion of the Lord, is a representative of Krishna, or Lingam. So now we're going to evaluate the gradations of Shambhu. There's this, and there's that, and there's the other. Same name, different positions. When Mahavishnu desired the creation of the material world, his glance, Shambhu, as a representative of him, impregnates the material nature, composed of three modes, with jivas by the influence of time. This gives rise to the Mahatattva, that is, Pradhan differentiates and starts having different elements. Pradhan becomes like impregnation, the potential of the mother developing a body for a child that have to have the seed. And then she has the elements, and the elements start to manifest separately in body's form. Then, when Mahavishnu entered into each universe, resting within his pores, he created Vishnu from his left thumb, Brahma from his right thumb, and Shambhu from between his eyebrows. So this is the plenary, Vishnu is the plenary manifestation of the original. These forms, text 15 of Brahma Samhita, Jiva Goswami's commentary, these forms were outside the universes and the sources of their further expansion situated within each universe. They should be understood to reside in the water surrounding Mahavishnu. That's the water surrounding Mahavishnu. That's the causal ocean, or the river Viraja. So there's Mahavishnu lying in the causal ocean. I'll read it again. Jiva Goswami's commentary. These forms, so notice an asterisk at the top. The asterisk is pointing to Lord Shiva at the far right, who coming from between the eyebrows of Vishnu. So which one? These forms were outside the universes and the sources of their further expansion situated within each universe. These expansions coming from the eyebrow of Mahavishnu, they should be understood to reside in the water surrounding Mahavishnu. And the next verse, Jiva Goswami's commentary. The universe was then filled with Ahankara from Shiva, who is the presiding deity of Ahankara. So that's the presiding deity of Ahankara is different than these other two forms of Lord Shiva. One, Sadashiva, two, the one who is residing in Mahakala before contacting the stupefying or the adulterating agent. Here's a nice reference, very, very nice one, from Light of the Bhagavat, verse 47. Mahesh Dham is the marginal place between Hari Dham and Devi Dham. The impersonalists who want to merge into the existence of the transcendence are placed within Mahesh Dham. So what's the Sayuja Mukti thing? They go in between the two. Haridham and Devi Dham. Chaitanya Charitamrita says something very similar. When a living entity is liberated from Devi Dham, but does not know of the opulence of Haridham, he is placed in Mahesh Dham, which is between the other two Dhams. The liberated soul does not get an opportunity to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead there. Therefore, although the Mahesh Dham is Lord Shiva's Dham and above Devi Dham, it is not the spiritual world. The spiritual world begins with Haridham or Vaikuntha Loka. So here is like gets a little more complicated. An abode named after Mahakala from Brihat Bhagavatamrita. By crossing beyond the shells of the universe, one reaches the abode of Lord Mahakala, the imperishable abode of liberation, where material existence disappears. It is called Mahakalapur because there all material causes and effects are non-existent. There's Kala and there's Mahakala, the place of Mahakala. Here the gross and subtle causes or karyas, such as the five basic elements, are gross and subtle products of karanas, and gross and subtle products or karanas are absent. So there's no matter, the influence of matter in this Mahakalapur. But it's not in the spiritual world yet. Complicated, huh? Commentary from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is Prabhupada's language, it's easier. Mahakalapur, famous as the place to which Krishna Arjuna made their way to retrieve the sons of the Dwarka Brahmana, asterisk, is the location of and the essential identity of nirvana or sayuja, the liberation of becoming one with the Supreme. Of course, from the absolute point of view, liberation is not confined to some specific location. Nonetheless, in spatial terms, it is conceived as being outside the material cosmos. So that asterisk, the Dwarka Brahmana, this is the palace of Mahavishnu, according to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:89, these two verses. Commentary from Brihat Bhagavatamrita. In that Mukti Pada, or Mahakalapur, the abode of liberation, is the destination for certain liberated souls, certain, not all, merge into Sayuja in intense meditation on Brahman. Vaikuntha is superior to both to Muktipada and to Maheshdam, the abode of Lord Shiva. Because Lord Shiva, though an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, plays the role of a devotee, he humbly compares himself unfavorably with the residents of Vaikuntha. But in reality, even the personal associates of Lord Narayan worship Lord Shiva as an incarnation of Narayan, meaning Sadashiva. So here's a little drawing with details. So there, on the directly in the center almost, there's Durga. And we see the glance of Mahavishnu. He's lying in the Karna ocean. The glance is Shambhu. And then above them, you can see there's the cloud, Mahakaladam. And above the cloud is Sadashivaloka. The cloud is the Mahatattva, or Pradhan, and it becomes Mahatattva. So that's the features of mature creation. And the universe down at the bottom, that's, one of many, many, many universes that come streaming from the body of Mahavishnu. And then he's going to Mahavishnu, in addition to creating universes, by his breathing, he's going to make some arrangement for living entities to fill up those universes by his glance. And Lord Shiva assists him. So you just saw the arrow drop, Mahakaladam, and there's Sadashivaloka. Okay, that was 2 of 8. Another abode of Lord Shiva is in the layers or coverings of the universe. There's 7, right? And one of them is Earth. So that's where he resides. We'll see. The universal egg, or the universe in the shape of an egg, is called the manifestation of material energy. Its layers of water, air, fire, sky, ego, and Mahatattva increase in thickness one after another. Each layer is 10 times bigger than the previous one, and the final outside layer is covered by Pradhan. Within this egg is the universal form of Lord Hari, of whose body the 14 planetary systems are parts. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. This is chapter 89. This is Krishna and Arjuna trying to find the Brahmana's sons, because Mahavishnu kidnapped them. The abode of the expansions of Rudra is Rudraloka, located within the covering shell of false ego, Ahankar. So there he goes. Now, Rudra is an expansion, but also is sometimes a name of Lord Shiva. So it's in the covering known as Ahankar. And BBT makes this commentary. As stated by Lord Shiva in his prayers in the 5th canto, the manifestation of Lord Sankarshana as Anantashesh is different in appearance from the form of Lord Sankarshana worshipped in the covering shell of Ahankara, false ego. In Lord Shiva's abode, the region of Ahankara, Lord Sankarshan has 4 arms, like Sri Pradyumna and Aniruddha. Lord Shiva's abode is thus a very special place. Maybe I should end. Too complicated, huh? He's a busy guy. 4th, within a material universe, Mount Kailash. So the different Mount Kailashas. Canto 4, Chapter 6. We're in Canto 4, Chapter 2. Chapter 6. After thus instructing all the demigods, the Pitas, and the lords of the living entities, Lord Brahma took them with him and left for the abode of Lord Shiva, known as the Kailash Hill. Everyone knows that one. Where is it? It appears from these verses that Kailash is situated near the residential quarters of Kuvera. Where's that? Kuvera is the leader of the Yakshas and Rakshasas and the master treasurer of the demigods, and therefore he's rich because he's a master treasurer. Somebody gets rich. So Kuvera, remember Kuvera was a half brother of Ravana. Yeah. So that's where Ravana went to have to beat up his brother. And then took his Pushpaka Vimana and poor Kuvera. So he's the leader of the Yakshas and Rakshasas. Until Ravana came along. That's spoken in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10. Kuvera once earned the gratitude of Lord Shiva by devotedly worshipping him. From then on, within the universe, Lord Shiva has submitted to Kuvera's authority on Kuvera's Mount Kailash. Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Part 1. So here's a little map showing the 9 Varshas described in 5th Canto Bhagavatam with Jambudweep. That's Jambudweep. It has 9 Varshas, and there's rivers and mountains, etc., etc. Canto 5. Shukadeva Goswami said, in the tract of land known as Lilavrita Varsha, the only male person is Lord Shiva. The most powerful demigod, goddess Durga, the wife of Lord Shiva, does not like any man to enter that land. If any foolish man dares to do so, she immediately turns him into a woman. I shall explain this later. 9th Canto. So that's now another abode in the earthly realm, Bhumandala, in Elavriti Varsha portion of Bhumandala, or Jambudweep, where there's only one male. And the asterisk is, if you want to look it up later, King Sudyumna, the son of Vivaswata Manu, goes to the wrong place and becomes a woman. He's like, what happened? There it is. That hero, Sudyumna, accompanied by a few ministers and associates and riding on a horse, brought from Sindhu Pradesh, once went into the forest to hunt. He wore armor and was decorated with bow and arrows, and he was very beautiful. While following the animals and killing them, he reached the northern part of the forest. There, in the north, at the bottom of Mount Meru, is the forest known as Sukumara, where Lord Shiva always enjoys with Uma. Sudyumna entered that forest. Oh, King Parikshit, as soon as Sudyumna, who was expert in subduing enemies, entered the forest, he saw himself transformed into a female, and his horse transformed into a mare. When his followers also saw their identities transformed and their sex reversed, they were all very morose. They were very morose, there we go, and just looked like one another. What happened? In the Elavrita Varsha, Lord Shiva is always encircled by 10 billion maidservants of goddess Durga, who minister to him, 10 billion. The quadruple expansion of the Supreme Lord, composed of Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshan, the fourth expansion, is certainly transcendental, but because his activities of destruction of the material world are in the mode of ignorance, he is known as Tamasi, the Lord's form in the mode of ignorance. Lord Shiva knows that Sankarshana is the original cause of his own existence, and thus he always meditates upon him in trance by chanting the following mantra. So this is a map showing where we're talking about. Ilavrita Varsha. Towards, in the center section, that little square in the middle, towards the base of Mount Sumeru, divided by mountain ranges. That's Ilavrita Varsha. That Sankarshan and the Purusha are the origin of Shiva, is confirmed by scripture. Prakritim Atmana Sankarshan Sangyam. Shiva worships Sankarshan, his source, from Paramatma Sandarbha, referencing 5th Canto Bhagavatam. So there he is underneath a tree with, so many billions of maidservants. Now, it is another abode, Vittala. Maybe I should just end. Huh? Continue? You're absorbed, huh? Okay, Vittala. The next planet below Atala is Vittala, wherein Lord Shiva, who is known as the master of gold mines, lives with his personal associates, the ghosts and similar living entities. Because of the presence of Bhava and Bhavani, Lord Shiva and his wife, a kind of gold is produced called Hataka. So there's a structure universe, and way down there's Atala, lower regions. There's the arrow. There's Atala. The bottom of the universe, approximately 240,000 miles beneath the planet of Patala, lives another incarnation of the Supreme Personality Godhead. He is the expansion of Lord Vishnu, known as Lord Ananta, or Lord Sankarshana. He is always in the transcendental position, but because he is worshipped by Lord Shiva, the deity of Tamagun, or darkness, he is sometimes called Tamasi. Lord Ananta is the predominating deity of the material mode of ignorance, as well as the false ego of all conditioned souls. He's a busy personality too. So there's the tortoise that's holding up the universe, and balancing the tortoise are these 4 elephants in the 4 directions, etc., etc. And down at the very, very bottom, you see Ananta on the back of the tortoise. And in this region, that's Anantashesh pictured in the, or labeled in the picture. Narakaloka, the hellish planets, and Pitraloka. This is Brahma Vaivarta Purana. For the earth, the resting place is Lord Shesha. For Lord Shesha, the resting place is the great tortoise beneath him. For the tortoise, the resting place is the wind. For the wind, the resting place is myself. Phew. Let's go back upstairs. So there's Anantashesh, who Lord Shiva is worshipping. That was the point. Anantashesh, who holds up the worlds on his hoods, is a jiva, Lago Bhagavatamrita says, and commented by Baladev Vijayabhusan. Then the 11 Rudras. At the time of devastation, when Lord Ananta desires to destroy the entire creation, he becomes slightly angry. Slightly. Then, from between his two eyebrows appear three-eyed Rudra carrying a trident. This Rudra, was known as Sankarshana, is the embodiment of the 11 Rudras, or incarnations of Lord Shiva. He appears in order to devastate the entire creation. And there he is, with his various expansions, 11 Rudras. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hair is scattered, and he pierces the rulers of the different directions with his trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hands like flags, as thunder scatters clouds all over the world. Look out. Thereafter, Brahma said, this is Canto 3, Chapter 12, a series of verses. O chief of the demigods, you shall be called by the name Rudra by all people because you have so anxiously cried, my dear boy, I've already selected the following places for your residence. Long list. The heart, the senses, the air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity. Rudra has 11 expansions and 8 types of forms. Pretty complicated, huh? Generally, these have 5 heads, 3 eyes, and 10 arms each. Whew. Commentary. From detailed statements, it is also known that there are 2 types of Shiva, or Rudra. It has been already stated that the Lord himself takes the form of Rudra. The present verse describes his form. According to Yadava Kosha, the 8 forms of Shiva are, it gives the same list. This means that Lord Shiva is the presiding deity of these items. The word generally is used because it is seen that there's also a one-headed Rudra in the water. Gosh. So here's the abodes. In Vaikuntha, between Vaikuntha and the material world, within the covering shells, within the material universe, there's different places, Mount Kailash, Nilavritavarsha, Vitala, bottom of the universe, places for Rudra. Thank you. Any questions?
That's way too much.
Huh?
Way too much.
Well, it's Rudra's, Lord Shiva is a complicated tattva. We said it yesterday. And now no one has any questions about this is too complicated.
I was so confused. I forgot. But I have one simple question.
One simple question. That's good.
That is when Krishna and Arjuna went to
Mahakalapur.
that is the one in the Vaikuntha planet.
Yes, but it's the abode of Mahavishnu, and the Vaikuntha is not. Mahavishnu is not in the Vaikuntha planets. Where's Mahavishnu? Mahakalapur.
So in that abode, Vishnu is there because they met.
Mahavishnu is there, and he kidnapped the children because he wanted to see Krishna and Arjuna. He knew how to get them. Kidnap kids.
So that's the palace of Mahavishnu, right?
Yeah.
So even though it is Shiva's abode,
No, it's called Mahakalapur, but Mahavishnu resides there. So we heard, remember that description of Advaita Acharya is said to be an incarnation of Mahavishnu. That's we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah.
And he's also, we'll go back and read it again, but some connection with Lord Shiva. As Mahavishnu has that connection with his abode, Mahakalapur. I'll go back and find it. There it is. It is said that during the advent of Lord Chaitanya, Sadashiva appeared as Advaita Prabhu. And Advaita Prabhu's chief concern was to elevate the fallen conditioned souls to the platform of devotional service to Krishna. So, that Sadashiva, now the Sadashiva means the Lord of that feature of Lord Shiva in Vaikuntha, who is non different than Narayana, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay.
Maharaj,
It's time to end.
can you just read that one section where you said the Sankarshana resting on the turtle and the turtle resting on something else and it is resting on something else, that particular section?
I don't know what you're referring to.
It is that...
Can you say it some other way?
It said that there is this Sankarshana on his hood is the whole
Okay, you want to see that?
And
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
$61. The next one. Not that one. The next one. This one. This one. Yeah. The last part.
Okay. At the bottom, this is a reference from Brahma Vaivarta Purana. That's what you want to hear?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll read it slowly. For the earth, the resting place is Lord Shesha, or Ananta Shesha. For Lord Shesha, the resting place is the great tortoise beneath him. For the tortoise, the resting place is the wind. For the wind, the resting place is I, myself. And this is Sri Krishna Janma Kanda section of Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So Krishna is the basis and support of everything. And the wind is resting on him, and etc., etc. You want me to send you this slide? Okay, I'll send you the slide. And then at the bottom, Ananta Shesh, who holds up the worlds on his hoods, is a jiva. Lagu Bhagavatamrita reference, commentary by Baladev. So I'll send you the complete thing, including that reference from Brihad Lagu Bhagavatamrita. And you can scratch your head and try to sort it out. See the Prabhupada Ki Jai.